It began on a Tuesday morning that would be etched into Clara's memory forever. The kind of morning where the sunlight felt hollow, mocking in its warmth, as if the universe was playing a cruel trick. Her son, Michael, only 19, full of life, music in his veins, laughter in his voice, had gone out for coffee and never came back. A speeding truck, a missed red light, a phone call that splintered her world in two. Clara screamed when the doctor told her. She clutched at the hospital walls as if she could hold up the collapsing universe around her. Her husband had passed years before. Michael was all she had. She was alone now, truly alone. The days that followed were a blur of condolences and casseroles, flowers that wilted too soon and voices that said the wrong things or worse, said nothing at all. Clara moved through her house like a ghost, touching the door frames Michael had leaned on, sitting on his unmade bed, smelling his jacket, hoping to find traces of him that grief hadn't yet stolen. The only moment that gave her pause was when the doctor mentioned something she didn't hear properly through the haze, about Michael being an organ donor. She didn't answer, didn't care. Her boy was gone. For months, Clara stopped speaking to the world. She wore her grief like armor, sharp and unyielding. People avoided her eyes. She liked it that way. The pain was hers, sacred. Until one afternoon, nearly a year later, she received a letter, a hospital letter. Clinical font, white envelope, no scent, no warmth. But inside, a message. A recipient of Michael's heart wanted to meet her. She almost tore it in half, almost threw it away. But something, maybe Michael's laugh echoing in her mind, made her pause. She said yes. The meeting was scheduled in a small, neutral room in the hospital. Clara's palms were damp, her throat dry. She had imagined this moment 1,000 ways. None of them felt real. When the door opened, a young man stepped in, barely older than Michael. His hands shook slightly. His eyes welled up the moment he saw her. "Mrs. James?" he asked. She nodded. "I'm Nathan." Nathan sat across from her, clasping his hands tightly. He spoke gently, like someone approaching a sacred altar. "I wouldn't be here without your son. I had a heart condition since I was 11. Last year I was dying. Your son's heart saved me." Clara didn't speak. Her chest rose and fell with silent sobs. Nathan reached into his jacket and pulled out a small music player. "They said your son liked music. I brought something." He pressed play. It was a recording Michael had made, a song. His voice filled the room, young, vibrant, impossibly alive. Clara gasped. Tears streamed down her cheeks. Her fingers trembled as she touched the small device. "That's him," she whispered. Nathan's voice cracked. "He lives here now," he said, placing his hand over his heart. And Clara broke, not with anger, not with rage, but with a strange, soft surrender. For the first time in a year, she felt something other than pain. She felt purpose. They talked for hours, about Michael, about life, about second chances. Nathan told her he had dropped out of college when his illness got worse, but now he was back, studying to be a pediatric nurse. "I want to help kids the way your son helped me," he said. Clara smiled through tears. He would have liked that. In the weeks that followed, Clara and Nathan met often. They walked in the park. She showed him Michael's favorite spot by the lake. He brought her flowers on what would have been Michael's 21st birthday. She started volunteering at the hospital, reading to children, donating books. Her world, once shattered, began to take shape again. Not as it was, but as something new, something rooted in love instead of loss. One day, a little girl in the children's ward asked Clara, "Why do you come here if you're not sick?" Clara knelt beside her and said, "Because someone I love helped someone get better, and now I want to help too." Nathan stood beside her that day, not as a reminder of what she lost, but as proof of what love, even in its most painful form, can still give. On the anniversary of Michael's passing, Clara wrote a letter. She didn't know who would read it, but she wrote anyway. If you've lost someone and you feel like the world has stopped turning, I want you to know, it hasn't. Somewhere, someone is breathing because of your loved one. Somewhere, someone is living a story that only exists because your love existed first. Grief doesn't end, but neither does love. Clara began organizing small support groups for donor families, helping parents navigate the silence that followed tragedy. She and Nathan spoke together at one of the sessions, telling their story, showing that healing was possible. One woman approached her afterward, crying, and said, "You just gave me a reason to keep going." Clara held her hand and whispered, "That's what Michael would have wanted." Months passed, and Clara turned her grief into a foundation named after her son. Its mission was simple: connect donor families and recipients to heal together. Nathan was the first to volunteer. On the first anniversary of the foundation, Clara looked out at a crowd filled with survivors, families, nurses, doctors. She saw light where there once was darkness, and for the first time in a long time, she felt peace. If you've ever carried pain so heavy it silenced your world, remember Clara, remember Nathan, remember Michael. And if this story touches you, share it, because sometimes the smallest act of giving, like the gift of a heart, can return as the very thing that heals us. Share your story in the comments. Send this video to someone who needs hope. Subscribe to Faith Light Stories, because true stories still matter.